Okay, people, we're coming live from my camping spot, and I thought I completely screwed up somehow, but actually, this did get recorded. I was so bummed, but I was proud of myself that I didn't turn on mobizen live effectively when I was walking up, or before I walked up to the stand. Yes, I was in church, but somehow I just noticed that it's all being recorded on mobizen. So I'm just now doing mobizen live to go over what was apparently saved. So I apologize for any, the visuals. I'm not gonna have the camera of shooting the people's faces while they're listening to me, but you can hear it, and you'll hear some other guy followed me out to the car and kind of interviewed me post testimony. I'm supposed to be like moving from my campsite, but yeah, I was a little late. But anyway, I got that figured out. So I'm just gonna let this play, and I'll be taking down my tent while you're listening to what actually went down in testimony meeting today. So I'm kind of proud of myself. All right, here we go. All righty, I'll just book through a little bit of this, other people real quick. Take about 20 seconds, and then we'll be on to me. This will be just like a live. Okay, so this is my new name, Nephi Jazz. Check it out. Here we go. I'm walking up there right now, baby. I don't know what the camera was doing, but it got this. Don't ask me how, just listen.
Well, it's been a month since I've been up in the testimony meeting. I actually was camping nearby and was able to look up your word on LDS.org. I read a book a long time ago by Elder Grant Richards entitled A Marvelous Work in Warfare. And in that book, I believe one of the key points that he made was that the church is restored on the rock of revelation, kind of contrary to the actual rock that the Catholic Church said was the object of that statement to Simon Peter. And so we know that through revelation, we gain the knowledge that we need of the gospel in our lives on a daily basis through the gift of the Holy Ghost and through the prophets that we have. And I was reminded of some scriptures that have meant something to me. In the New Testament, we have Jesus saying, "Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me." We have Paul saying, "Prove all things and hold fast to that which is true." And in latter days, in section 88, I believe it is, we read that we need to search for wisdom, to seek ye out the best books, to learn wisdom by study and by faith. And so, when I think of Jesus saying, "Search the scriptures," and Paul saying, "Prove all things," I think maybe today he would say, search LDS.org. Search the internet. Search the website that's going to have the updated revelation that we need from Jesus Christ. And so I've taken some time to search LDS.org for a lot of things. It's just a tremendous resource. And I've noticed that there's a particular section that seems to be difficult to find, which I've located generally by just scrolling down to the bottom of the web page, of any web page, to the site map. And in that site map, we click on that, and you go down below where it says the scriptures and so forth, and it's got the gospel topics essays. And those seem to be addressing a number of topics that deal with challenges to the assertion that in all managed to survive Noah's flood, and that they couldn't find DNA for Israelites, which presented a difficulty. So in those, we're told things like the people necessarily weren't the only people in the land, and that the primary ancestors of the American Indians weren't necessarily the seed of Lehi. And it suggested that the anthropologists were correct, that people did come across, and effectively there were so many of them that people just disappeared into them, so the DNA was lost. At least that's the way it seems to be to me. They should have some pertinent scriptures, particularly the ones that say that the land would be preserved from the knowledge of other nations, and that the seed of Lehi might possess it unto themselves. I didn't notice that particular scripture in there, even though it seems to be very relative. But I think as we compare the scriptures to what we find in these essays, we can learn to prove all things. I noticed in the race and priesthood, it starts off talking about how God loves all of his children equally, and at the end ends in the disavowal that a skin of blackness is a sign of divine disfavor or a curse from God. And that's important update for us, because in the book of Mormon, 2nd Nephi chapter 5, it specifically states that it was a curse from God. So they didn't mention that one either, but I encourage everyone to actually go to the Gospel Topics essays on LDS.org and read through them and compare the scriptures to what we have in them, so that we can prove all things. And I would say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Okay, so here's where the guy comes up to me in my car. Okay, how you doing?
All right.
Dad?
I'm Charles, by the way.
I'm Dave.
Yeah, I really appreciate your assessment. I'm very familiar with all the essays and everything like that that were in there. I was familiar with your take was on all the essays.
You were familiar with my take, or
No, all the essays that are on the church
you
website.
wonder what my take is on them?
Yeah, exactly. I'm just curious to what your overall message was. No, I'm being very upfront and honest with you.
I guess my real message was to invite people to actually look at them, because I've noticed that, like in the foreword or preface there, it says that we're really interested in people knowing all this stuff, and it's very difficult to find them.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So I don't think that statement's real authentic, because if they wanted them to be seen, they'd be on the front page saying, check out the Gospel Topics essay since 2013.
I get that part, yeah. So I'm with you on that aspect, or
Yeah.
something like that. So ultimately, what do you think that people will find in that, and ultimately what you've come to your own conclusion if they do read all the essays fully and with an open mind and everything like that? What do you think the conclusion's going to do if they read all of those essays?
I don't know if you have to read all of them.
Well, just say one.
I'd say that race and priesthood and the DNA make definite statements. They avoid using the scriptures that are pertinent to those essays because they contradict exactly what they're saying in the essay. I'd say in the race and priesthood, they go on the premise that Brigham Young was basically prejudiced, and that the next 11 prophets were, and so basically that they were guided more by the cultural influences around them than they were by the God of Israel with respect to giving priesthood to Negroes or entering into the temple, and that's they focus on the race, and they focus on the priesthood and temple aspect of that. They don't talk about the Lamanites.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I referenced, in that 2 Nephi chapter 5 business.
Yeah.
But they
So ultimately, after that, you still have a testimony of the church after reading all those essays?
I have a testimony that they're deliberately dishonest in those essays.
Oh, okay.
They're absolutely deliberately dishonest because they use a lot of fluff there in that essay, I believe, and they avoid using the scriptures, and they blame it on Brigham Young when Abraham chapter 1 specifically says that the Canaanites cannot have the priesthood.
Yeah.
And it used to hyperlink, or in your scriptures, to Moses chapter 7, which shows that the Canaanites were turned black in Moses chapter 7, so that they'd be despised of all people.
Yeah. No, I'm very familiar with it.
Yeah, so I think that to say that you are trying to bring multiple points of view to bear on it, which is stated at the beginning of the essays, and that they're straightforward, and giving you the impression, I hate to sound like Fox News, but of being, fair and balanced.
Yeah.
Fair and balanced. I don't feel like that's what's being delivered. I think that if you've got scriptures that basically Joseph Smith introduced the scripture that it's based on, but instead the essay leads you to believe it's all because Brigham Young is prejudiced.
Yeah.
Would you say that's accurate? Do you say that's accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in other words, that's pretty misleading, in my opinion, and it looks like it's in other words, when they say at the end there that first, they got the disavowal, and then they can basically condemn all racism.
Yeah.
But it actually originates in the scriptures, which are supposedly, either revealed directly through or translated by Joseph Smith, and that's specifically avoided so that a blame can be placed on Brigham Young.
Yeah.
And blamed on cultural influence when that's actually not the origin of that. And like I said, the DNA thing, they try to be pretty vague about it, I think. And the fact is, the DNA thing has a huge problem with Genesis, because people coming across 9,000 years before Adam and surviving Noah's flood.
For that in that general and everything like that.
And rather than saying that they disappeared into this vast population, and in fact, the Book of Mormon does say that this land was preserved from the knowledge of other nations, and that it was to be, Lehi said he obtained a promise that they would possess it unto themselves. Not that there was a vast existing population to disappear into, so they could just disappear. So it's not honest.
Yeah.
And
I agree. So I really appreciate your what's the courage to get up there and to be able to do that. Not that many people have the courage to be able to do that. So
I was a little nervous.
I commend you for that and everything. I was just curious and more your intent and everything like that of doing it. Is going up there and sharing that with everybody and stuff. As you probably know, that definitely makes the bishop and his counselors very nervous when somebody comes up and to be able to share that, because obviously a lot of there's people that are going to be looking at those that would probably raise a lot of questions, right? So.
And there should be, and it's on LDS.org. It's not like it's it's LDS.org.
No, exactly. So.
They're supposed.
That's why I'm just telling you. I commend you.
Are you in the bishopric, or?
No, I'm just a member of the ward.
Well, so what's your take on me going up there, or any of these things? If you studied them, then.
Yeah. So basically, I'm neutral on the matter in that you were basically raising a particular point. There's a reason reason why they keep it down, way difficult to find it on the website in that regard, because there's a lot of people, they don't know about those things, that have been in the church for 30, 40 years, they still don't know about those things.
Right.
So basically you're raising up things that are very touchy for the bishopric and everything like that. I'm not putting any judgment on you. I think that was great, was what I'm saying. But between you and I, let's just leave it at that. You know what I mean? I was just kind of interested. I'm more of a curious mind myself, and so I was just kind of curious of what your overall intent was on that in that regard and stuff. So that's all. I didn't know if you were the type of person that was had a lot of a conviction where you're going around every ward basically sharing the same thing. To me, I commend you for that.
I haven't been inside a church for a couple of years.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, you doing some surfing out there and stuff?
I haven't been in the water either. I am camping.
You need a wetsuit.
Yeah, I have surfed a lot, but it's been a while, and I took some things out of storage, and there I am.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to redo life a little bit, and I decided I'd just go on in there and do that, and then Casey comes up right behind me. Which is kind of weird.
Oh, okay.
I know Casey. I haven't seen him in a long, long time.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if he even recognized me.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. His dad's a good friend of mine.
Oh, cool.
Well,
I got to get back to my lesson and everything like that, so it was just nice talking with you and everything like that.
If you're curious about that kind of stuff, I could tell you of a website that's got some interesting information.
Well, I'm very familiar with all of
that.
them. I mean, if you went to Mormon Think, if you went to the Sun Stone, or if you've gone to what's his name, Mormon Stories and all that stuff, I'm very familiar with all of that.
You're familiar with those guys?
Yeah, exactly. John DeLynn, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with all of that. So, no, that's why it was just kind of interesting where you were coming from and everything like that. And it was nice talking with you.
Hey, no worries.
Have a good one.
Ciao.
Well, that be it, people. How about that? Anyway, I guess some of it was captured. I don't know what the hell I did with the with the software, but at least we got the verbiage. And sorry for the the additional noise, but I guess that's just part of the program. Have a happy Sabbath day. Dodger game out.